It's time now for Coach's Corner with Heck and King here on BroadcastSport.net. We are always looking for some show sponsors. If you or somebody you know has a business to promote, email John at BroadcastSport.net to get info on how to become a sponsor. We're now on Instagram with all the cool kids at IND Coach's Corner. If you missed the live show, catch us on demand on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and always here on BroadcastSport.net. The show links can be found at Linktree.com, Coach's Corner. It's time now for Coach's Corner with Heck and King here from Bar Louie.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to be entertained by the Black Sedan Band. And I'm yours truly, host Carl on the mic. I guarantee you, if you want to dance, we don't mind you doing it. We're going to have a good time. Hey, well, I'm the friendly stranger in the Black Sedan. I want you to hop inside my car.
Hello. Welcome to Coach's Corner with Coach Pat King, Coach Ron Heflinski, John Overmeyer spinning the dials as he always does. He's got the Detroit lean going to some great tunes. John, let our listeners know how they can reach us. Questions, we'll take questions from anywhere. Last week we had questions from the ski slopes. Guy was skiing, stopped, got on his phone, and sent us a question. And our first comment was, why ain't you skiing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing, you nutball? Why aren't you skiing?
He must have fallen down. He couldn't get up. He called us.
He called us.
Real simple to do. You guys can either send an email to me at john@broadcastsport.net, or you can text in a question at 574-366-2488. We'll pass it along to the coaches.
We've got our own phone number.
Yeah, you've got your own phone number. I got Instagram. You've got Apple. You've got it all, guys. Yeah. I'm telling you, you're real popular now.
That's the hazards of having a 27-year-old kid with nothing to do.
That's great.
I send him the stuff, and he does his magic.
I know it.
That's great. So we're going to have Ryan Varga on live here tonight. I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 minutes.
Whenever he finishes practice.
And we will talk about the South Bend Washington Panthers going into that 3A sectional with Mishawaka Marion, Robbie Berger's ball club at 22-1, maybe heading into that. 22-2 possibly.
Yeah, I think they lost 2.
And then Washington upsetting them. And then Washington beating.
And John and I saw that game Saturday
Washington
morning.
Beating St. Joe then in the championship game.
And in overtime.
Yeah, so really, really, really good Indiana high school basketball. But before we start, I want to get your thoughts on this because I mean, I have thoughts. I can think, and once in a while I think okay. Usually, a lot of times I don't.
Sometimes it's a little random. But
yeah, no. Sometimes I go from side to side, up and down. But why in the world would the IHSAA allow sectional sites to pick one out of 2 options? Why wouldn't everything be uniform, around the state? Like you're either going to play 2 games on Saturday and then play Monday night, or you're going to play 3 games on Saturday with the championship game on Saturday night, and giving teams or schools a choice on that when everybody should be doing the same thing.
True.
I think there was a distinct advantage playing on Monday because coaches got to watch more film. Teams obviously got to rest a little bit.
Got a day's rest.
And, you go to school, it's a school day. It's like playing on a Friday night.
Right.
And, playing then Saturday night after playing 2 in the morning the old regional way. I mean, it's doable, because we've done it all those years.
Yes, they sure have.
But there's a direct advantage to not doing that. So in your infinite wisdom, you take the side of the IHSAA. Tell me why that would happen.
One, I'm dreaming these up, so I'm going off the top of my head. One, think about the difference in weather between the southern part of the state and the northern part of the state. The southern part of the state had postponements all along the river. They were because of rain and flooding. Up here, it was because of snow.
Yes. So what does that matter if you play?
So that was the start. Now, here's the reason that I'll go with. That's just a fact. I'm stating some facts just for whatever reason. They may even be irrelevant in the decision making. I was covering games at Elkhart, so I had a chance to talk to the administration, And because the one thing they were upset about at Elkhart, see, it was canceled at the last minute, like at 5:04. The ADs all wanted to play. Elkhart prides themselves in playing those games. They said they've only been postponed twice. This in '78 for the blizzard, and then a couple years ago for COVID. So this was number 3.
Okay.
They were all ready to play. They said they've always had the stands unless the county highway department declares an emergency and closes them down, we're playing. And all 4 ADs all day had agreed. And then at the last minute, at 10:04, because Buck showed me, his text. He said, "Here it is, 3:50, no games," because one of the superintendents said, "We're not leaving school. I'm not putting our kids on a bus."
And
that's okay.
Yeah,
that part's okay.
Yeah, so I don't blame them, but you still haven't given me any kind of reasoning or factors why the IHSAA has 2 options instead of saying, here's what you're doing, boys. Everybody's going to be the same. And so, therefore, everybody will not get rest because we're playing on Saturday night, or everybody will get a day of rest.
So here's the rest of that.
And the rest of the story is?
The rest of the story is blah, blah, blah. I found out that Elkhart wanted to play everything Saturday and get it over with, but 2 of their officials had college games in the afternoon.
Okay,
and it was the 1 and 2 officials.
You know what I say? Right on. So that gives me more credence to say everybody plays on Monday.
So then what?
Right?
So they didn't have a choice. They had to put, they're one, or either that or you get officials 3, 4, and 5, which is I don't think that was an option. So they immediately said, okay, we can't play Saturday. We're playing Saturday night. When they had their Saturday afternoon games, got in a car, changed, head for Elkhart. They played the night games, and you needed all 6 officials.
Yeah.
For the night game.
Sure.
Because you had 2 games. Because you had one. The odd numbers did one of the games. 1, 3, and
Sure.
5. 2, 4, and 6 did the other
Sure.
game. And then Monday, you got officials 1, 2, and 3. So that was the story at Elkhart. Now I can't vouch for any place else. I don't know what happened at LaPorte.
Okay. So
or
what you're
anybody
telling
else.
me is that they should all played on Monday, and everybody's the same. Am I crazy? One flew over the cuckoo's nest, John, or is that how it should have been? All sites are the same instead of giving them options.
They should have all been the same.
Thank you.
What I heard is the IHSAA, and I talked to Nate Dean when we were over at Jimtown, and they were told by the IHSAA, play all 3 on Saturday. If you can't play Friday, play all 3 on Saturday.
And that's what I heard. They
because
wanted them to
they
play
wanted
it.
to be done with it, so nobody had an unfair advantage of an extra day of prep, while like a Penn or a Mishawaka or somebody else is going to have an extra day of practice where these other kids don't because they had to play a game on Monday.
Then
I don't know why they didn't,
Then it goes back to, so nobody has answered my question. Then why didn't they just say, here's what we're doing. You're playing them all Saturday night.
Because look how many exceptions you had. How many people played last night? There were probably 10 games.
No. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But that's why the IHSAA should have just said, on Saturday, it's the old regional boys. You're playing 2 in the morning and the championship game at night on Saturday night. That's how we're doing it. That's the way it is. There's going to be no extra day of rest. There's going to be no unfair advantages, because in the way it went down, there were advantages.
Sure there were.
And I don't know if Ryan Varga, when he comes here, he's certainly not going to say, we should have played Monday night.
Well,
because Ryan Varga won. But if you get Rob Berger sitting here, would Rob Berger say, or would the
St. Joe people?
Would Eric Gaff say, why didn't we get a chance to refuel ourselves to have a day of rest and play them on Monday night?
Right. And it's interesting because Ryan Varga, even on Wednesday and Thursday, had made a public statement that he thought they should play, separate games. When that got rang out, or on Friday, he said we should play Friday for Monday.
Yeah. So in essence, nobody has answered my question.
We don't have the answer.
We should have got our lovely statewide commissioner Paul Neidig on the phone here, and we should have put it to Paul and said, you guys you control everything. So why didn't you control this? Right?
It sounds like they gave him, and from what John said, it sounds like they wanted. It was a strong encouragement for Saturday.
Well, then
look how many exceptions they had. Are you going to tell me all these other places had travel issues
No.
or officials issues?
No. The only issues that the only issues that there would have been on playing 3 games on Saturday would have been, since it was at the last minute, there weren't enough hotel rooms in the city to house the teams that were going to play the night game, because you had to have something to do with those teams.
Right.
And there were no reservations made. But again, my point is, make a decision. Okay,
Right.
say that.
Make a decision.
Make a decision, say that, and make it the same for everybody. What about John Morant, the Memphis Grizzlies, great basketball player, multimillionaire. It's the same thing, different story, same thing. Having a gun
There's a
in a club.
pro player. Last week it was a college player with a gun in his back seat, and he just, he still played. And Morant's a pro.
But I don't get it. I mean, I can rant here all I want to, but I don't get it. They play a game in Colorado. He takes a gun into a gentleman's club, and the name of the gentleman's club is Shotgun Willie's. Now, I'm just saying. When I go to Glendale, Colorado, we got to go to Shotgun Willie's.
Just to see what it is?
Well, it's a gentleman's club. It's a gentleman's club.
We're gentlemen.
We're gentlemen.
Of course we are.
But why would you take a gun and flash it in there? When he had some problems, on Instagram, showing a gun maybe to a teenager or something, and if someone could call or text in on what that story was on Instagram, but the league or his team, the Grizzlies, suspended him for 2 games, and now he's taking a leave of absence, saying, I have a problem. Well, you got a problem flashing a gun in public?
Yeah.
That's your problem?
That's your problem?
It just blows my mind.
Those pros have an entourage with them. Anytime you see a pro, he's usually has 1 or 2 or 3 people. He's got his posse. They're around him, basically bodyguards, to make sure and keep people away from him that they don't want around him.
And so they played the Pacers maybe 10 days ago, and there was a rumor that one of his bodyguards flashed a gun at somebody in the stands, and it's way out of hand. And I say this, you're putting millions of dollars in the hands of maybe, and they're not kids, they're young men, but I don't know what the answer is. But I know we're trending in the wrong direction. Jalen Carter, who's the defensive tackle for Georgia, who is supposed to be the number 3 pick in the draft now, because the first 2 picks are going to be quarterbacks,
right?
And the Chicago Bears are in the driver's seat because they got that first pick,
right?
And they're in the driver's seat. But Jalen Carter, first of all, he had he was driving a beautiful, I think it was an SUV. Well, now these kids, because they got NIL money, they can drive those beautiful vehicles as college kids.
Legally.
Legally. As college kids, I was driving a 62 Ford.
I had a 68 Fairlane.
A 62 Ford. So we were talking about, like Manchester off the air, I don't know, some dates or whatever. I couldn't get a date. I couldn't get a date in college because I got a 62 Ford.
Yeah.
Who wants to?
It wasn't a 62 Ford Mustang either.
No. Who wants to ride in a 62 Ford truck?
Yeah.
So if I got a date, I had to walk. But so Jalen Carter's driving this great, beautiful car. He's racing side by side with a staffer on the University of Georgia staff,
right,
like a recruiting analyst. One of the offensive linemen are in the car. They crash. 2 of those people are killed.
They're dead. Yes.
They're using a university recruiting vehicle. That's what they crash in.
Yes.
And Jalen Carter leaves the scene of the accident.
Now that part of it went public.
Yes.
But everybody thought it was a 1-car accident.
Yes.
And now here, a month later, we're finding out additional information.
Well, because there's cameras on every street corner.
Right.
So if you go outside and wave somewhere, someone's going to say, "Hey, Pat King waved at me." How do you know he's on camera?
Because there's a camera at 5th Street and Broadway.
Yeah, and so Jalen Carter now is jammed up. Jalen Carter makes his comment at the combine.
He was at the combine.
I'm going to be exonerated, reckless driving, racing. But it caused 2 people to die. Mm-hmm. And I guess my point is, again, the irresponsibility of young kids when you put an inordinate amount of money in their hands.
Well, and to pigtail off of that, they're trying to now say that is that a Georgia problem, because the Georgia quarterback, if you remember, was arrested in Dallas for being drunk and disorderly because they found him walking around in the back of some hotel lot somewhere.
Yeah, he's just checking it out.
Yeah.
Stetson Bennett.
Well,
he's like 20. He's like 25. He played like 10 years.
He's 10 years old. He's older than 10 of the NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah. And I don't know about that being a Georgia problem, but I do think it's a young person problem that we have in our country, and we all want to blame it on somebody then. Mm-hmm. But there's no blame. It's just taking care of your business and acting like a responsible young man or young woman, and just taking care of your business. So Geno Smith, he's not a young kid. 32-year-old quarterback for the there we go.
That works. Okay.
I'm always giving John.
It's called an experiment.
I'm always talking to John. John's the best. And
well,
stuff.
last week, remember,
I lose an air.
Last week we made him mad. Remember, he said he'd pull a plug on us if we needed to.
Well, yeah, because so you didn't read the thing about a couple of slaps today.
No, I was told not to do that anymore.
Well, that was nice of him.
You didn't. You could have read that. We just would have had a little fun with it.
Okay, well, if you want to ask a question on these 2 slaps, go ahead and email me at john@broadcastsport.net.
Have we said that I can call you a slap and you can call me a slap? Have we said that?
Not yet.
Not
today.
Yet. Okay.
Not yet.
So Geno Smith,
talk to me about
32.
Geno Smith with Seattle, right?
Yeah, 32
Seahawks.
years old.
Been with like 22 different pro teams.
A journeyman. I think he had a starting role with the New York Jets when they first drafted him. But so Geno now, he plays 1 year. He's a starter for the Seahawks. Has a really good year. Maybe those 32 TDs, 10 interceptions. They signed him today to a 3-year, $105 million contract with $52 million guaranteed. And he's a journeyman. He's a backup.
Yes.
He's a backup.
But it just happens he's starting right now for Seattle because he's taken the place of the guy that went to Denver.
Yeah, Russell Wilson. All right, so.
Well, they've got what else?
Hoops.
Derek Carr signed with the Saints.
Went
Went from the Raiders to the Saints.
A lot of money.
The Saints, and I think what I heard, he got a lot of money, but it's the same money he would have been making if he would have stayed with his contract in Vegas.
So the head coach of the Saints is the former defensive coordinator of, or was the head coach of the Raiders for a while, Dennis Allen. So he had a relationship with Dennis Allen, and Dennis Allen, who was the defensive coordinator for the Saints when Sean Payton leaves, Dennis Allen gets the job. So there was a relationship thing.
Yes, there was. Speaking of guns and doing questionable things, did you see who the SEC named as Player of the Year?
Brandon Miller.
Instead of getting arrested,
he's the Player of the Year
in the conference.
And you know what? I mean, I don't want to seem like I'm just crying and whining about this kind of stuff, but this stuff is real.
It is.
And when you're messing around and playing around, okay, but when there's death, when there's someone getting shot with that gun, when there's a car accident because a couple of people are playing around and there's death, I mean, there's got to be some responsibility somewhere.
Yeah, and it just sounds so. And here's 2 old guys. We're talking about young people shooting each other, but yet, and they say, well, they're young, blah blah blah. But yet, we can name 2 coaches right now, one from Texas, one from Texas Tech, that are basically, one's already lost his job, and the other one's suspended and probably will lose his job at Texas Tech because they supposedly said something.
Well,
and
Mark
hurt
Adams.
somebody's feelings.
Well, no, Mark Adams was quoting. Mark Adams was quoting the Bible.
He was quoting the Bible,
and
it became racist.
It became racist. It became a comment that someone took offense to. Now, I don't know if Mark Adams had other problems at Texas Tech with his players. Did he? I mean, do you know anything about that?
I haven't heard any. I haven't heard anything, but I'm sure they're going to start digging up some dirt. Like certain players didn't want to play with him. Well, sure, because they're sitting on the bench, right?
Yeah. Well, and they don't have to play for him. I mean, just get in the transfer portal and move on.
But you don't have to accuse him of being, this, that, or the other because, he sat you down because you're no good.
Yeah. Move on. Big Ten men's basketball tournament starts tonight, man.
Tomorrow.
Oh yeah, no, Wednesday. Yes. Wednesday.
We've got two of them do start tonight. Notre Dame plays here in just a little bit. So that's what ACC.
So who's the other one that plays tonight?
They're playing right now. John, help me. Is it SEC? Who's playing on Tuesday? No, the ACC's playing right now.
ACC, Georgia Tech beat Florida State this afternoon.
There we go. Conference tournaments.
Yep.
Big 12 starts tomorrow.
Big tournaments
SEC
again.
starts tomorrow.
Big Ten starts tomorrow
I think it's the Big East because they finish on Saturday night.
At the United Center in Chicago. Great venue. Have you ever been in the United Center to watch a tournament or the Bulls or anybody?
I saw the Bulls back in the Reggie Miller, Michael Jordan days. One of the playoff games.
At the United Center.
Yes.
Yeah, no, what a great venue that is. And so Wednesday, tomorrow, you got Ohio State versus Wisconsin. And then you have Minnesota versus Nebraska. Now, are any of those games that matter that you would think? And what I'm saying, can any of those teams?
I don't even think those teams are in the. They're not even in the. They're not even in the first group out.
But can they beat anybody in the next round?
I think Wisconsin can. If anybody's going to move, win more than one or two games, I would pick Wisconsin because if they win tomorrow, then they have to turn around the next day and play Iowa, and I think they can get to there. And then they have Michigan State.
So then on Thursday, Rutgers against Michigan,
and that game's at 11 in the morning.
Yep. Iowa against the winner of Ohio State, Wisconsin. Let's just say it's Wisconsin, right?
Okay.
I mean, Ohio State's having a brutal year, and I don't know if there will be any ramification to Chris Holt or anything along those lines.
I think he just needs a clean house and tell some guys if you don't want to be here, go, and if you need help, I'll suggest.
Yeah. Butler needs a couple players.
Yeah.
I mean, he could help Butler a little bit if he wanted to.
Send him back to Indianapolis.
So the third game then on Thursday is Penn State against Illinois. I like Illinois. I think Underwood's a good coach.
Isn't that a rematch of just the other day?
Yes.
Didn't they just play?
Yes.
That was a tip in. That was the one where the guy shot the air ball and the guy caught it underneath and scored like with .1.
Yeah. So who won that game?
Penn State.
Okay. I like Illinois. I think Illinois' got a good team, and I think Brad Underwood is a really good college basketball coach. And then Maryland, who is undefeated at the crib.
Yes.
Undefeated at their crib.
But that means they evidently can't win on the road.
They're like 1-9 on the road.
One and the rest of them.
They're 1 forever on the road, man. Come on. So that's why.
Winning on the road is important. That's why they have all these.
That's why I don't think I'll ever get in the Hall of Fame. You know why? Because playing at the Wigwam, we used to buy teams in.
Yeah, like my team, you paid us to come down there so you could beat us.
And we played 15 home games, Yeah. But
including sectional and regional for a while.
Yes, but here's how we did it, okay? Before I got there, they would pay like maybe $1,200. Like Adams is coming in, I'm going to write you a check for $1,200. Come on in, man, play at the Wigwam.
Yep.
Have your kids go through that experience. So then after a year of that, I decided that I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to give Adams $200. You're going to come in and play, and then I'm going to give you 200 tickets because I want to encourage you. And you can sell those tickets for $5, for $6. Mm-hmm. I don't care.
Right.
But if you sell 200 tickets at $5, that's $1,000. But so I want your people coming to the game, and I want a crowd at the game. So it's your incentive now to sell those tickets because you get the money.
Get your fan buses or whatever and get them going. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, you get the money.
Yes.
So I think that the Hall of Fame committee will say, no, heck, played 15 home games a year, so that's why he's got 400 something.
Well, I grew up in that environment mean, there were certain teams, like when we played Madison Heights, we always played at the Wigwam.
Well, no, yeah, exactly. And
And
Highland,
Highland too, but it was their home.
Yes.
Eventually, it became their home game.
Yes.
So they got to wear white shirts, and it
Yes.
was not a season ticket game for the Indians.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But then, like when we started playing Alexandria, we wouldn't go to Alexandria. I mean, that's what still floors me. To see Anderson playing at Alec, at LaPel, at Frankton. In my day, that would have never happened.
Well, no, we never played there.
That would have never happened.
We never played there, and so I think playing those home games, and so Maryland undefeated at the crib,
Right.
but 1-9 on the road. So who is the real Maryland team? So Maryland will get the winner of Minnesota and Nebraska, and you know what I say? Who cares?
Don't
Who
care.
cares between Minnesota and Nebraska, man?
Those are easy tickets too. Those would be a good ticket to get. Friday's tickets get a whole lot more expensive.
Yeah. Hey, John, why don't you take a break a little bit? Our guest, the great Ryan Varga, is in the house here, and we'll get Ryan situated with a headset on. You can talk a little bit, and we'll get Ryan situated.
We'll take a break. You're watching Coach's Corner with Heck and King on BroadcastSport.net.
Frick's Driving School has been named the best driving school in Michiana. Frick's was started in 1960 and is located on Edison Road in Mishawaka. If your child is 15, you can get them started at Frick's. There are multiple instructors available for your driving lessons. Check out the BroadcastSport.net main page and click on the Frick's icon to get more information. There you can find out more information and instructions to enroll your new driver. Frick's Driving School, a proud sponsor of Coach's Corner on BroadcastSport.net. Southern Knit Studio is a proud sponsor of Coach's Corner on BroadcastSport.net. Southern Knit Studio is located in Nashville, Tennessee, which makes custom handmade chunky knit blankets. They come in 3 sizes and various colors for your living room or den. Stephanie's Esty Shop offers online shipping and ships anywhere in the country. If you need a great gift idea for any holiday, including birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, check out Southern Knit Studio. You can find more by clicking on the link at the www.broadcastsport.net page. Jackson's Cigar Bar is located in the 100 Center in Mishawaka. Jackson's is the only place in our area offering a gourmet cigar and alcoholic drink. Jackson's has a full bar along with a 1,200 square foot patio for your enjoyment. Jackson's is open Wednesday through Sunday 4 to midnight. Jackson's also has plenty of TVs to watch your favorite game while enjoying your cigar and drink. That's Jackson's Cigar Bar located in the 100 Center in Mishawaka, a proud sponsor of Coach's Corner on BroadcastSport.net.
Back on Coach's Corner, and we are really happy to be joined by the great coach of South Bend, Washington, Ryan Varga. So Ryan, you're going to get indoctrinated here because before we talk about the Panthers and the Great Western Forum and all the stuff going on the west side. And by the way, don't know if you know this, but my dad and his twin brother were dentists on the west side. Their office was on Western Avenue in the Marycrest building.
No, I didn't know that.
And so many people on the west side. Matter of fact, when my father passed away, I went through his books, and so many people from the west side didn't pay and owed the money, man. And
Were you the collection agency?
well, no, but all we said, that's west side. I put my left pant leg up, and I walked around the house with my left pant leg up because
Start
that's
that
west side.
stuff again.
All right, so here we are. So
Well, hey,
Purdue.
with him here, we got a tiebreaker now, so we got 3 votes.
Yeah, and we're
He doesn't know that he's going to get. He's
Well,
going to
we're-
be the vice president
and-
here on that 50-50
and
vote.
we're going back to that IHSAA stuff too with Ryan here too.
Okay.
I want to get his
No,
opinion.
Yeah, you're not leaving anytime
No,
soon.
no,
so get
no,
comfortable.
because if we're going to feed you, we're going to get some stuff out of you, man.
Okay, all right.
All right, so then Purdue is going to play the winner of what, Michigan Rutgers?
Yeah, and the way Michigan finishes games, they may be one and done.
Well, Purdue's not actually tearing it up now either, man.
Well, we saw that too, didn't we?
Yeah, and I saw
Was 20-point halftime lead enough the other day?
So I saw a great article how Purdue and Zach Edey and even a lot of officials in the Big Ten were talking about how Edey gets hammered all the time. And there were pictures. I mean, it was like a video montage of him getting hammered and no fouls getting called. But I say this much. I say Wilt got hammered. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar got hammered. You're 7'4".
Welcome to the big leagues.
I mean, yeah. I want to say Will Purdue got hammered, but nobody cared about Will Purdue, right? So
he was on the other side of that. Winnington and those guys,
Yeah.
they had 15 fouls between three of them, and Cartwright used them.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on Purdue now, Ryan? What do you think about them?
I think obviously he's a force inside, to be reckoned with. But, they're struggling at the guard play a little bit, and I think you saw that against Indiana. Not that they're struggling. They just got guys that are younger that are just trying to find their niche a little bit. And, it gets a little tighter as you get into March.
Yeah, no, that's no kidding. So at the start of the season, they were shooting great from the three. Braden Smith, nobody knew about him. Now everybody kind of has him figured
There's
out a
names
little
on the
bit.
scouting report, aren't there?
He's going to drive baseline. He's going to look baseline drive, baseline kick to the other baseline. Now people are flying down to that baseline and stealing that pass, and it's not there.
Right.
All right, so then we're going to Michigan State. I don't have a great feel for Michigan State. I mean, I really don't.
And they usually don't do well in that tournament.
Yeah, and Iowa's going to play Wisconsin. I mean, you picked Wisconsin over Ohio State, right?
I did because Wisconsin, I think, needs to win at least twice to even have a chance to get on the bubble.
Well, so no, I was reading or listening today. They were talking about 10 teams from the Big Ten. Now, they must not have enough teams, right?
Yeah.
They must not have enough teams because if Maryland gets in.
The argument's going to be then they need to go find some of those mid-majors, but that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Now.
I mean, the Mid-American, for years can only get one team.
Right. Go get a second or third team out of some of these mid-majors.
So what's your take on Michigan State? You like Michigan State this year?
I'm a huge Izzo fan, but they're so up and down right now. And then obviously it's a little disheartening to see that they blow a lead against Iowa last week when they should have closed it out. But Izzo in March, he's a different animal in March, and for some odd reason, even his mediocre teams he gets to play really well.
Yeah.
But they got to find some shooters. They don't really have too many of those.
And more than likely they're going to see Iowa again at 2:00 on Friday.
Yeah, and I mean Iowa shoots the ball well, right?
They're an offensive team.
Yeah.
The McCaffrey boys can fill it up.
And the kid from Lawrence North. I can't believe I forgot his Perkins. His last name is Perkins.
Yep.
Tony Perkins
Sure.
played at Lawrence North. But so you're going to love this one. Tony Perkins' dad played at where?
You said Ball State.
Played no. What's number one in your heart?
He's a Butler Bulldog?
No. High school.
At Anderson?
Played at the Wigwam. Tony Perkins' dad
He
played
must be
at the
younger.
Wigwam.
He's got to be younger than me then, obviously.
Yeah, he is.
Is he from the 80s, from the Held era?
Yeah, and when I was down there helping Robbie New at Cecina, he came up to me one day. He said, "Hey, Coach Heck, blah blah blah." I said, "Is that your kid there?" He said, "Yeah," and he was really good as a freshman. Mm-hmm. I mean, started as a freshman at Lawrence North.
Well,
but now he's at Iowa.
Okay.
All right, so I digress and let me move on because I got stories coming from everywhere.
We mentioned randomness earlier, didn't we? Tangents.
I'm going from side to side, up and down, man. Now, I mean, Chris Collins is on the bubble. They're thinking of firing him, right?
Well, they just extended him today. And they also, I think it might have had something to be coincidence that he was named Coach of the Year in the Big Ten, too.
And so what did he get today?
I don't know the numbers. I just know he got an extension.
Man.
But how many guys get an extension, then they fire him the next year?
Yeah, but let me ask you, okay, did you get an extension?
No.
After winning the sectional?
No.
They didn't say, "Hey, Ryan, man, here's
here's
$7 more grand. And you get an extension."
Did you get your bonus?
No, I did not.
I need to call those guys because you need an extension, man. I'm just saying. So Northwestern's got Barnheiser's kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's playing well.
He's playing well.
I think he's had double figures the last 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, he's playing really well. And Mark, so you knew Mark Barnheiser really
right? I
well.
grew up with Mark.
Yeah, and
he never had I don't think there was ever a shot that he didn't like.
Well, so when Mark, so I'm 67, you're 77, right?
Pretty close.
Yeah, and Mark Barnheiser got to be like 65 or 60. No,
He's
your
already the
age.
same age.
Yeah. So he was still playing hard at age 60.
Well, he still shoots. I think he gets 1,000 shots in every
I
day
mean, playing
himself.
hard at 60. I mean, you got to go with Northwestern here over Illinois or Penn State because Northwestern's got those guards, right?
Yeah,
Tell me
I
about
like
Northwestern.
them.
What do you think?
I like Northwestern. I think they played pretty well together. They share the ball pretty well, and I think it is a travesty that they were thinking about getting rid of him because I think he's, for what he has, he's a really good coach.
Yeah, plus his dad is Doug Collins, man. Come on, you can't get rid of Doug Collins' kid. Doug Collins got all this Michael Jordan gear, man, from when he was coaching him.
That's for sure.
They did get rid of Doug Collins, though.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, there was a story behind that. There was a story.
Was that the Sixers?
No, that's when the Bulls got rid of
Bulls.
Doug
Yeah,
Collins,
that's
and
right.
they had.
Well,
they had-
all NBA
brought in
coaches
Phil.
get fired somewhere.
Well, there was always a rumor that Doug Collins was messing around with Jerry Reinsdorf's daughter.
Oh well, that
And that'll do it, to be honest with you. But then they brought the Zen.
leave the owner's daughter alone.
All right, so then they
That
bring.
sounds like a Caddyshack
Sniping
episode.
at night.
So 2 years before that, they call Phil Jackson, and he's the head coach of the Albany Patroons. And David Magley played for Phil Jackson, by the way. And they said, Phil, why don't you come up, come to Chicago, and we'll interview you for an assistant coaching position. And Phil Jackson came up with a straw hat, and he had like a flowery shirt and sandals.
Looking like Bill Walton. On
and
a
sandals,
Pac-12
and came to his interview that way.
Wow.
And they didn't hire him. So they hire him the next year, or they ask him to come up, and they say, Phil, could you dress a little more appropriately for this interview? So he comes up in a shirt and a tie and all that, and they hire him, and he stays on Doug's staff for 2 years. And then obviously they deep six Doug because he's hanging with the owner's daughter, allegedly now. Allegedly. And then they hire Phil, but that's a whole nother day. IU will play. I don't know. I mean, Maryland's playing away from home. We said Maryland's like 10-0 at the crib and 1-9 on the road, right?
Yep.
So you got. I mean, and you don't know what IU team's going to show though.
That is true.
I mean, if
They play well at home sometimes.
okay, let me ask you this question: the Big Ten Freshman of the Year, who is it?
Freshman of the year?
Yeah.
Oof.
Come on, I'm
can't
going to lead
tell
you
you
down
that.
this answer.
He was named today.
I'm going to lead you
by the
down
way.
that answer.
He was named today?
Yes.
Oh, I don't
So
know.
it's already public.
Yeah, I'm in a bubble. I'm on Huddle.
He doesn't know. Yeah, if it's not high school, he probably doesn't know.
No, I'm not
Well,
on
no,
Huddle.
no.
A year ago, we wouldn't
I
have
haven't
known.
checked my Twitter today.
Yeah, a year ago, we wouldn't have known.
So I'll just clarify this for you. For Lent, I gave up my social media, so I'm not even on it. Not even on it. And I wouldn't have known if he wouldn't have showed me his phone. I mean Hood Schifrino, right?
Yeah.
What a good player he is, right? But as they said on the Purdue broadcast, why let him go right? Because when he goes right, he gets that foot down and he
pulls up.
elevates
Yeah.
and he elevates, and it's money, right? And so your guys on a scouting report, you say, don't let this guy go right. I mean your guys get that figured out, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah, but sometimes.
At least that's what it says on the scouting report,
But
right?
that's how you're going to coach
Isn't
him
that
up,
what
right?
it said? Isn't that what the scouting report said on Jackson Price the other day?
Yeah. It said he can shoot.
Don't make him dribble.
Yeah.
Well, let's just talk about that now. Let's talk about the Washington Panthers. Let's talk about that really, really good sectional. And let's talk about the beautiful gym they have at Jimtown and why Jimtown always gets to host that. I got no idea. But let's talk about, so it's Mishawaka Marion against South Bend, Washington, the Panthers. I don't know about a month before that, they put a hammer to you, 6 weeks or a month?
Yeah, it was about 6 weeks. Yep.
I mean, they beat you by 20, right?
Yep.
At Marion or
You were
at,
close
or
at
at your
half. It was
place?
close.
Marion.
It was close at halftime.
It was
right?
very similar at halftime. It was like we were down 3.
Okay.
Like 21-18 or something like that.
So was that a conversation at halftime a couple days ago?
we
Or have
obviously
you guys thrown that one in the trash?
we watched that game and we watched what we did and what we didn't do correct, and we felt like even in the first game, for about three quarters we were there, and then you could kind of see it unravel, and you can watch our body language. You can watch we made a couple mistakes, and then it just kind of snowballed into the 20-point game. And credit to Marion, they saw blood in the water, and they just laid us to rest. But we knew when we left there that wasn't our best play, and we knew we could play with those guys. So all week it was just about what we needed to change and what we needed to do defensively to stop them, and we kind of
What did you change?
Well, obviously our shot selection was terrible the first game. If you watch it back, we played to their tempo at times, and you take one shot and they're already going the other way. And usually we're a pretty fast-paced team, but they were beating us down the floor. So we changed our shot selection, where we wanted to attack the zone, where we wanted to get the ball, what kind of shots we wanted to get this time around, and then we made sure we always had a guy back. And then obviously we let Thornton kill us the first game. He was all over the place. So we wanted to make sure that we were taking him and then the rest of the guys off the boards. So it was we practice all week. We want one possession, and if it takes us 2 minutes to score, it takes us 2 minutes to score. As long as we have the ball, they can't. So we changed a lot of different things, just in the small realm of things to try and execute a better game plan.
The first quarter or the first half, Marion, I believe, has 23 points, and Thornton and Sullivan have all 23 points.
Well, and to his point, John, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it? It was like 1-0 at the 6-minute mark.
Yep.
You guys got the tip and ran a minute 10 off the clock before you turned it over.
Yeah, and I thought we had a little bit of nerves going.
Yeah, and then to your credit, they went down the floor, 2 passes and shot it and missed, and it was your ball. It was your ball again.
Yeah, and that was kind of a difference maker because last time we were not making them exert any effort defensively. They were just sitting there, and we were one pass firing, or they're blocking our shot and going down and scoring. So, we wanted to get them to move that zone a little bit, and if it took a couple rotations, maybe we can get the shot that we want, and then force them to kind of play from behind.
Did you do something differently against Jackson Price? I mean, did you cover him? Did you not help off of Jackson Price? Because I believe he only took one shot in the game, right?
I took two. I believe it was 2. He hit that one. He hit one dagger in the 45 late
in the game.
When we were up 4 to put us down, them down 1, and then he took a pull up off a rebound. We just went no help on him. We just said, we gave Nocentelli the job, and we said, your job is to be here on him. Don't let him catch, and that's your responsibility. Because they a lot of their stuff is off penetration and ball screens,
sure.
And if you help off of the shooter, he's gonna, he saw what he did against Clay. He just was getting wide open looks. So that was something that we didn't want him to do. And if the guys were gonna beat us, we wanted to make sure that their core group wasn't gonna beat us.
Nocentelli is the kid that came from Elkhart, right?
Correct.
And I read your comments on him. I mean, just kind of cemented your team together, right? When he showed up.
Yeah, he is an extremely coachable kid. He could start probably on a lot of teams in the NIC, be leading scorers on their team, and for him to come in and be like, okay, I'm going to be 6 man, I'm going to come every day, I'm going to work, whatever you have for me, I'm going to do. He's just been that player for us, and he hadn't been playing well down the stretch. So we told him, like, you have to get in the gym, you got to put up some reps. And him and Marcus and Steven are on the gun, after practice, just shooting. And I think those reps got him a little bit more confidence, and so we inserted him in the lineup because we knew we were going to need a shooter in the zone, and he just really performed last weekend.
Talk about down the stretch in that game, Pat. Obviously, Pat, you worked the game.
And you mentioned in the St. Joe game, which I did not see, John did, but Nocentelli had 15, 11 of those were in the second half.
Yeah, he was all over the place.
And so, after spending all that energy in the morning game, guarding Jackson Price and his whole emphasis was defense. Mm-hmm. And then he turns around and puts 15 up in the night game. Had to be a bonus for you.
Yeah, it was, and we kind of had him. We were like, okay, you're a defensive specialist now. Now you get to guard Chase, and he kind of came over. He was like, Coach, I'm out of gas. I'm out of gas. So we moved him, and and he was able to
Chase
rest
had
a little
24,
bit.
and Jace Lee had 17, but there's 41 of their points. So.
Yeah, a lot of those guys on their team, their emphasis is definitely to get those guys the ball.
That's your job, is to get their shooters the ball. But Steven Reynolds has had, I thought, a big improvement from what I saw him in December.
Yeah, he's a gamer, obviously, but he's in the beginning, kind of people didn't know. I mean, they knew who he was, but could he play? And then it became, he became a vocal point of scouting reports. Don't let him shoot, get up in him, and then so he struggled a little bit with that and then in the mental piece. I mean, you're talking about a kid. I mean, you guys are no strangers to South Bend Middle School basketball. It's about 2-3 weeks. And here we are the other day, and I was talking to him, and I was like, this is probably the longest season you've ever had.
Yeah, because they started Halloween, and they're done at Christmas.
Yeah, so, he's had to deal with that.
That's a great coaching gig.
Yeah, it is. That's pretty good money. Man. That's like coaching golf.
One jamboree, and you're done.
Yeah.
And then, so, he's had to adapt to that, and, and he's done a really good job with it, and a mental part is a big thing, too, he's easily frustrated early. I thought he was easily frustrated early on, and then you just saw it in sectional where he missed a shot and he bounced back. He'd go get a rebound, he'd go do different things. So he's finding ways to, not necessarily be a freshman, but he's growing up fast.
And that's that attitude where at those young kids, their offense predicates everything else that they do. If they're playing well offensively, then they play real happy. But if they can't get their shots, then the body language and everything else goes down.
Well, really, he's not a freshman anymore. He's played a whole season.
Yeah.
So he's not a freshman. How big is he?
He's about 6'5".
Is he?
Yeah, he could be near the 6'6" range. I feel like he grew just in September to season, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
So is he a D1 player? I mean, a prospect?
Oh, for sure.
Really?
IU and Purdue are calling, and he has already got an offer. So, and I think that obviously more will come. He's going to have a good summer, and he's only going to continue to get better. I think he's just scratched the surface right now.
Well, let me ask you this. Two of your seniors that have been in your program now for 4 years are Terrence Reed and Marcus Northern. Mm-hmm. And, Terrence had 9 the other night in a St. Joe game, and Marcus is a first-teamer all-conference. He had 13, and then he hit the game winner against Marion. I mean, they put, token pressure on him. He just went right down the middle of the floor and made that basket inside 5 seconds, and it ended up being the game winner.
Well, it's one of those deals where defensively you're afraid to foul, and so you're too young to know this, but Pat and I know this. Danny Ainge against Notre Dame, remember?
Yeah.
Danny Ainge
went coast to coast.
3 seconds. And Digger's got a great team, and Notre Dame's going to move, maybe move into the Final Four.
Right.
And Danny Ainge, boom, 3 seconds.
They lose to BYU.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah, it's kind of your same deal.
Here's the thing that I was impressed with so much was we see so much on TV, and the high school kids see it too. Last play of the game, everybody flattens out, and the kid does 22 crossovers and pulls up for a 3 in a tie game. I just cringe when that. But maybe he thinks that's his best shot. But Marcus took it to the hoop. So now you're thinking layup or foul. Layup. Somebody, and like you said, they're not going to foul him. It's a tie game.
Yeah, what is Rob saying in his huddle? Don't foul him.
Right.
Don't foul. Okay, no foul.
And he took it through a crowd. Matter of fact, we had to watch the replay because I still think he traveled, but you said he didn't.
No, he bobbled it a little bit.
He bobbled the ball, but he went 1-2 into a hop. I know.
Well, I mean, what's travel? What's travel nowadays, though?
There is no
I don't know
such
what
thing.
travel is.
And the referee
I don't know what Euro step here. It's not travel.
The good thing was the referees let the kids
do you
finish
know?
the game.
Yeah.
Do you
it
know?
changes every game.
Like the Euro step in, out, and what is a legal Euro step and what is an illegal Euro step to you? I mean, as a young coach who now knows this stuff.
I mean, I can tell you what the proper Euro step is and what it looks like, but it changes from crew to crew, and
That's exactly right.
it's hard to navigate through that. So you just got to kind of take it as it comes, but. I was happy that wasn't.
That was a legal one.
That was a legal move.
All right, talk to us about this week. What's going on this week? What did you guys do today?
Today was honestly we, yesterday we came back hard, and you could kind of see it just they were fighting through some, just the battle wounds of the, Saturday. So today we shot free throws. We actually had a closer friend come in of my wife who does a lot of mindfulness and stretching and yoga type stuff. And we got these guys in a circle and did a deep stretch and did some mindfulness stuff and, just had them relax and type stuff so that we could come back tomorrow at a better pace and be more focused.
So tomorrow and Thursday need to be good days of practice.
Yes, yeah. Tomorrow will be a little bit more intense. Monday we talked about some things and put some things in, and then, we'll revisit them tomorrow, and then, kind of just continue the game plan.
Have you been over to Michigan City? Will you go over there and shoot or practice? Or have you already been over there?
No, we're at Washington.
Oh, that's right.
Hey,
I'm in the wrong section.
Mishawaka's going to Michigan
Yeah,
City. This is the Great Western
He's
Forum.
got the.
I'm happy
he's the
where
home
I'm
court.
at.
Yeah.
No, that
He's
is.
the home court.
That is okay. Let me ask you this question, okay? And you give me your thoughts on it, because Pat and I discussed this a little bit. The great vision of the great IHSAA. Now they're going to give schools the option to say, well, you can play on Friday, or you can finish it on Saturday, or you can finish it on Monday. I contend that it should have been universal all the way around. Everybody either was going to play the championship game Monday because, realistically, okay, it worked out for you, but your guys were gassed, just like you're telling me. Your guy says to you, I can't guard Konechny. I'm gassed, Coach. So I say there should have been one way or the other. It should have been universal. I mean, what's your opinion on that?
That was my opinion. As soon as it was announced, that I wasn't too far off from saying that right away. You got to make things universal if you're going to do something like that. Because the sites are just going to choose based on whether or not they want people to be there in their gym, or if they want to be there all weekend and then have to come back on Monday, whether they want to do it. Did it work out in our favor? Obviously on Saturday, yeah, but it could, but at the same time, we had two teams that were gassed,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the ball bounced our way, and we were very fortunate for it. But
And even though St. Joe had game 2, their game, they didn't expend much energy.
no, and it wasn't 32 minutes.
No,
it was halftime and done.
Their starters played 2 quarters.
Yeah, so it was different, but I could tell that we were, and some of the things that we might have done, we might have, trapped a little bit more, done some things we weren't able to do in our game plan because, we weren't there.
I get that 100. I get that 100%.
Yeah, and the fatigue wasn't so much the physical fatigue as it is the mental, emotional fatigue that you got to deal with. That as a person you can't see that, but you can see the results of it.
Okay, we say that, but back in the day when I'm at Anderson, you're at Adams, you're down south at Madison. Those regionals, all that stuff was a one-day deal. The semi-states were a one-day deal.
I know.
But I still go back to this. It's got to be the same for every team. And
So either make it all Saturday,
Exactly.
or have everybody be
Exactly.
Saturday, Monday.
I do
one
the,
or the other. Pick
I
one.
do the Mishawaka Michigan City game. Both teams have a day on Sunday to rest. Both coaches can watch more film on Sunday, and both of those teams were fresh, and it was really a good game. And you guys are grinding it out on guts and on emotion and things like that, and it should have been the same. All right, so now on December the 6th, you guys play John Glenn, and you lose 52-31. Talk about that game and, how this next one, and obviously it's going to turn out in your favor, but what you didn't do in this first game that maybe you got to do in the second game.
Well, I think we were, if I could be wrong, we were probably undefeated at that time moving into them. A little bit big-headed. We were beating teams by 30. We beat Elkhart by 30. We run and beat a Clay by 30 or something like that. Kind of at a high, and we're thinking our mentality was off. I think we thought we were gonna, they lost a lot of their guys, and we're gonna come in there with John Glenn, and we're gonna avenge our sectional, and we're gonna avenge the season, and there was just too much emotion, and we didn't hit shots. It's kind of similar to, Marion, but right from the start we were taking bad shots, and the ball wasn't going in, and then you see the body language go, and credit to them as the same type of situation. They pounded us and took advantage of it, and they beat us to every loose ball. They just flat out outplayed us. So, obviously, you look at that score and you just go and say, all right, we got to regroup, kind of like how we did against Marion. We have to be more focused on intentional on what we're trying to accomplish. And I think that's the growth that I've seen over the part of the season that we have, and moving forward through that is, we want to do what we have to do to win, and we have to be very diligent on executing our game plan.
One of the things you have to do is control Bryce Hanna, huh?
If you can.
Yeah, good luck, right?
He's huge.
He's a house.
Yeah, I feel like he's been there for 8 years.
No, I know. I know.
Maybe 10.
No, I know. I mean, we played against them, and then they wouldn't play us anymore when we switched conferences. But he was a beast as a freshman and a sophomore.
He's a great player.
He's a beast.
I mean, he's a great player for
And
his
he's a better
size.
baseball player.
I said that the other day. I said, I don't want to step in the box with him, a drop step in, let alone see a pitch coming at me from him. He's a great kid too. I've gotten to know him over the years, but we're gonna do our best, but they're playing really well right now. I thought they had a really good sectional. Watching them play, they were playing hard and they're playing together, and he's a big catalyst for that. He's all over the place too. I saw him at the Penn game. He rushed down the floor and he's running full steam into the wall. I thought he knocked down the whole wall, but he's just he can play, and I'm happy that they got their sectional. I thought they were deserving over it, the last couple years, but it's going to be a war, and we know that, coming in. So,
What time is your game?
4:00.
So 4:00 at home.
Yep.
And you're gonna have a great crowd there, right?
Yep.
I hope so.
Did you have a great crowd at the sectional?
Yeah, we did. The first game was kind of a little bit iffy, but I felt like the second game definitely people came out, and it was we were well supported, but I'm hoping now that we're home and it's not a far drive, that the city will come out and see what we can do.
Well, here, help us finish this up, because we're getting ready to close up. The regional is 2 separate games.
Correct.
So your game against John Glenn, you guys will play the second game, and you guys get to cut the nets down, and that's it. You don't have to play anybody else. There's a game before you, Northwood and Lake Station. They'll do the same thing at 1 o'clock, right?
Yep.
So there's a 1 o'clock game. I can't remember. Do the people have to clear the gym for those? Is it 2 separate tickets? Do you know?
I don't think they have to clear. No.
Can you stay for both games if you choose to?
Yep.
Okay. Well, down at Newcastle, believe it or not, Newcastle is north for the 3A, and Lebanon is in the south for 3A. But down there you got Twin Lakes and Dwenger, and Delta and Peru. So those will be 2 of those teams will be thrown into the lottery with the 2 winners there at South Bend, Washington for the following week, is how that'll work. And then down south at Lebanon, we've got Danville, Guerin Catholic, who Guerin Catholic's right now in the Sagrins is 4th. Beech Grove, last year's state champs, plays Indian Creek. And then down south at the Hatchet House is probably the strongest regional, with Greensburg playing Scottsburg, who is number 3 in the power ratings. And then North Davies, who jumped up from number 1A to 3A, is 5th, and then Gibson Southern. So there's some good teams in the South, but right now, I like Northwood and South Bend, Washington right now. I think that if they get lucky enough, you guys get a shot at the semi-state and go from there. So that's the 3A. So I'll be there. I think John may get stuck going over to Michigan City. So he's going to be over there. We'll get to watch Mishawaka, first time ever. We've got to mention Mishawaka.
Well, no, the first time ever in the last 36 years. I've heard.
It's 2 generations
I've heard
of
the
people.
36 years. Since I got the job, 34 years, 35 years, 36 years.
Exactly.
I'm so happy that they won.
You know what was fun? What was fun for me was listening to Darren Pritchett try to be professional last night down on the floor when he's talking to his kid.
Yeah, so Hammond Central is really good, 25-1.
Yeah, they're really good.
They used to be 3A before they consolidated, because they were over there in the Washington sectional just 3 or 4 years ago, or Washington
the regional.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let me ask you this question: Marcus Burton, Mr. Basketball, or there ought to be an investigation, right?
Yes, that's a robbery if he doesn't get it.
Yeah, no, the
gotta be
FBI's
a
got to come in town and investigate that.
Yeah.
If Marcus Burton doesn't get
They
that.
just need to bring it up north right now.
Yeah, no,
There shouldn't even be a vote. Really,
I know,
honestly.
I know.
But you know, with the Indianapolis influence, they don't know any better.
But it's going to come. It could, I mean, very well come down to Penn against Ben Davis in a rematch, and Ben Davis is men, right? But they're men.
What we mentioned on the show the other night, on the air last night over at Elkhart, was the Hall of Fame got lucky this year. They got it right. Because the 4 teams that they had down there at Newcastle the week after Christmas, they had the best 3As, and they had North Davies and Northwood, and they had Ben Davis and Penn.
Okay, so are you ready for this, though? Okay, you got Steven Reynolds. He's going to be one of the best players in the state for the next 3 years. And you better tell his dad, hey, listen, you ain't leaving. You ain't taking another job. And you ain't going to Maryland. You ain't doing anything like that. But
so you got to recruit his dad.
Yeah, so you're going to have, at some point in time, you're going to have the opportunity to play in the Hall of Fame game.
That'd be nice.
And
we'll see.
I think that would be awesome to represent this area. I mean, how many? I mean, what's your younger classes like? Are your younger classes stacked?
We have a good sophomore group right now. Our junior group is okay, but our sophomore group is a little bit better, and we have a really good freshman class coming in. So, we'll put in the work and we'll be there. We might take some lumps, here and there next year, but we'll definitely be there when we need to be.
Well, we want to thank you for coming in. Ryan Varga is playing.
He didn't know what he was getting put on the spot. We were going to dump him in here and say,
we throw him on the Big Ten. Obviously, it's a good thing you knew the Big Ten, man. And I figure anybody that hangs with Tommy DeBates, man, knows the Big Ten. And I want to say to you that I know Saturday night that your mother was on your mind. Your mother passed away, and your mother was your biggest fan. Your mother was at every game, and every time you needed a little something, you could just look across the gym and see your mom. And I know your thoughts were with your mom on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And I think
most definitely.
I think that's beautiful, man. I think that's beautiful. Pat told me he hooked up with you at Wings, and you were hanging with your dad and everything.
Yep.
That's really cool. Well,
and I mentioned to you that he was, you could just tell he was decompressing. He'd had enough of people doing that. Great job.
Yeah,
just
kind of sitting in silence.
Good for you, man.
He was just kind of there.
Well, I want you to know that we certainly wish you all the best of luck, and the west side of South Bend will be out in force, hopefully, to root you guys on, and we certainly want to see you guys in the semi-state, man. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on board. So you can kind of see the grub right there, man.
There's 4 of them.
There's 4 of them. I got 2, and I don't know what his is.
We'll be fighting over it.
Hey, John, thanks for
finish this up, John. Thank you.
Do you remember the 21st night of September? Love was changing the minds of pretenders while chasing the clouds.